All right, let's talk about something you probably hear all the time, biodiversity. We usually picture, these far-off rainforests or the deep, dark ocean. But what if I told you it's not some distant, abstract concept? What if it's actually the very system keeping our world and us up and running every single day?
And that really gets to the heart of what we're digging into today. This isn't just about saving pandas or tigers, as important as that is. We're asking a way bigger question, a question about us. Is all this variety of life on our planet literally the key to our own survival? Let's figure it out.
Well, the answer is a huge, resounding yes. And the reasons why are woven into our everyday lives. For starters, biodiversity makes sure the food webs that put dinner on your table don't just collapse. It's like a giant living pharmacy for future medicines we haven't even discovered yet. And it's our natural shield. Think of mangrove forests protecting coasts from massive storms. So the main thing to get here is that this isn't just some environmental issue, it's the bedrock of our existence.
Okay, so we know why it's a huge deal, but what is it exactly? In the simplest terms, sure, it's the variety of life on Earth. But it's not just about counting up all the different animals. It's way more layered than that, which is where you start to see how everything is so deeply connected.
So let's break it down into three main levels, kind of like building blocks. First up, you've got genetic diversity. That's all the little variations inside of one species, like why some tigers are bigger than others. Then you zoom out to species diversity. That's the number of different species in one place. So the tigers, the deer, the monkeys, all sharing the same forest. And finally, you zoom out even further to ecosystem diversity. This is the whole shebang, the variety of entire habitats, from forests and wetlands to rivers and oceans. See? Each level builds on the last one.
So, with those building blocks in mind, let's take a quick tour, shall we? We're going to see how this web of life plays out across all these different ecosystems, from the land to the sea.
So on one hand, you have what we call terrestrial ecosystems, everything on land. You've got the obvious stuff, right? Forests filled with tigers and monkeys, but it also includes the ground right under our feet. A farm field is its own complex world, packed with soil microbes and insects that we can't live without. Then, on the other hand, you have all the aquatic ecosystems. We're talking about rivers that are like highways for fish and dolphins, wetlands that are basically five-star hotels for birds, and of course, the massive Bay of Bengal, just teeming with everything from tiny shrimp to giant sharks.
And let's be super clear about this connection. This isn't just about pretty nature scenes. The health of our oceans and rivers is absolutely crucial for the food we eat and the money that millions of people earn. Healthy water systems mean healthy communities. It's that direct.
But, and you probably saw this coming, this incredible, vibrant system is in big trouble. We're now in the middle of a crisis that's chipping away at the very foundation we've been talking about. And to really get it, we need to look at what's causing our life support system to fail. So let's unpack the 5 biggest threats.
Here they are, the 5 main culprits. You've got the simple destruction of homes for wildlife. You've got pollution, poisoning pretty much everything, our air, our water, our soil. Then there's the big one, climate change. Then there's overexploitation, which is just a fancy way of saying we're taking way too much, way too fast. And finally, invasive species that come in and just take over. Every single one is a huge problem, but believe it or not, one of them is doing damage on a scale that is just mind-blowing.
Just look at this number, 80%. Let that sink in for a second. It's a massive figure, and you've got to be asking yourself, 80% of what?
That's the percentage of all endangered species on Earth that are threatened by just that first thing on our list, habitat loss. Just that one factor. Think about it. The simple act of clearing land and breaking up natural spaces is pushing the overwhelming majority of vulnerable species toward the brink of extinction.
And these threats aren't just words on a list. They are happening in the real world right now. Habitat loss looks like the destruction of the Sundarban mangroves, that critical natural wall that protects against storms. Climate change looks like our beautiful, vibrant coral reefs being bleached bone white, killing off the nurseries for a quarter of all life in the ocean.
Okay, so, faced with this enormous crisis, what's the response? What are we actually doing about it? Let's take a look at the policies that are supposed to be protecting us and get to the core problem that's holding everything back.
So if you look at the rule books, there are things in place. We've got a Biodiversity Act, we have a Forest Act, there's a national strategy, there's an action plan, there are rules for protected areas. So, on paper, the intention is definitely there.
But this right here, this is the whole story. This quote just nails it. We have the policies, we have the plans, but the gap between what's written down and what's actually happening on the ground is massive. Because enforcement is weak and not enough people are aware of the problem, the destruction just keeps going, despite all the good intentions.
So we've walked through what biodiversity is, why it's our absolute life support, the massive threats it's facing, and the huge challenges in actually protecting it. We've laid out the facts. Which brings us to our last slide, and it's a question for you. Now that you know all this, what's on your mind?